Hey there, poker people. This is Sky with SmartPokerStudy.com coming at you today with a focus session all around working on my opening game. Right now, for this week and probably for next week also, I'm working on my opening game, not just in cash, which is what I'm playing today, but also sit and goes and MTTs. And I created this little thing. I'll probably use this on most of or all of my focus sessions from now on. When I'm recording for you guys, it'll kind of prompt me on what I want to talk about. But opening is the most important play in poker, or I'm sorry, opening is the most common play in poker. The more I'm acquainted with opening, the better my overall game will be. This is a minimum effective dose MED for poker, and everyone should work on it. Oh, King 10, that's a definite open. I'll be opening lots of different hands in an attempt to better understand how opponents react to my opens and how the hands fare post-flop. Gotta pop this up. Not all of these hands are in my normal opening range. Now, of course, King 10 on the button is always going to be within my normal opening range. Deuce 7, I am not going to open this. Let's take a look at this guy. I have only 6 hands, 6, 4K. Plenty of hands with Sugaboo here. And these two guys, 6 hands now on them. So, but I'm not going to pop that open just because it's a chance to steal doesn't mean I have to. You know what I mean? So if you take a look at this HUD right here, this is my cash game HUD. I use this both for 6 max and for full ring. It really doesn't, I don't have a difference between the two. And if we just take a look at what my HUD looks like, up top you got let's look at Sugaboo here. You got the notes, the hands, VPIP, then PFR. So he's a 22-14. He's a pretty taggish player. Getting to be a little passive or so. Generally, you want VPIP and PFR. You want it about like you want PFR to be, oh, this is worth opening here, and a 6 max under the gun. Jack 8 is probably not within my normal opening range under the gun, but right now, like I said, I'm working on my opening game, so I want to pop stuff up as much as possible. Any decent playable hands, and Jack 8 suited is definitely playable. What a nice flop. Now, man, I don't have any post-flop stats on these guys. Don't know anything about them at all. But I will toss out slightly more than 2/3 pot C-bet here. And let's see how they react. This guy's got a 2.5 stack. Of course, at 10 NL, the max stack to buy in is, what is the max? 100 BBs. So let's see here. What's he calling with? Deuce through 3 is set, of course. Wanting these guys to come along. He did just call me in position. But let's go ahead and put out a good size bet to get value. I've still got the nice flush draw to back me up in case he does have a set. And of course a jack or an 8 would give me the win as well. But he could just be a very loose player. He's a 38-20. Yeah. So he just called me. He might have had 2 hearts himself. Might have been 2 weak hearts, you know. But you know, that's a good little takedown right there. I could have bet less to get more value out of him. Not more, well, yeah, I guess you could say more value, but to just elicit a call out of him, he could have called with a lot of weaker draws if I had bet just half pot or less than half pot. King and a 5. I flopped very little equity. I've got the high end to a backdoor straight draw. This guy c-bets 100% of the time, which is probably just, 1 out of 1. I'm going to check it there. So I'll get back to my HUD and stats in just a little bit. 2/3 pot. He's c-betting 100% of the time now, and I just have very little backdoor equity. I don't want to try to steal it from a bigger stack out of position. He was turn honest that last hand I played with him, so we'll see what he does in future streets. He's going to limp. Oh, didn't limp. Anyway, VPIP and PFR. So generally, PFRs is going to be about 70 to 80% of the VPIP, with bigger gaps, bigger gaps like this, about a 33% gap. 33% gap. It's just quite a bit much. 33.11. Let's just c-bet 100%, fold c-bet 100%, steal. Yeah, I just have no hands on the guy. Let's just call and see what happens here. You know, if he checks, I'm definitely betting. Half pot. I'm just going to give this one up. I just don't know enough about him right now to know what he has. I called and I would have continued with any ace or a jack or a gut shot. That kind of thing. Or even if I flopped a weird, flush draw. Ace and a 3 versus 36-9. Let's get some more hands on these guys before I get crazy. Yeah, so it's VPIP and PFR. Generally, you want to be about 80% Oh, this hand open. No, I'm not going to play. Nope, sorry. Stand up. I'm outie, clam chowdy. 28. What is up with the 28 cent open these guys are doing? 2.8 BBs. I guess it's probably like 2/3 or 3/4 pot down there. Fold to steal comes next. So this guy folds 79% of the time, so he's a pretty good one to steal in the blinds. Now raise first in is the next one, and oh, this is interesting. Oh yeah, it's just 0 here because I have nothing. Let's take a look at this guy, of course. Raise first in, fold to 3-bet, and then 4-bet. So these stats, let's pop this open. It's not a good hand, definitely not within my normal opening range. But like I said, I'm testing my opening range to see what hands hit, see what I can do post-flop, try to learn from my play. Now that is a pretty decent flop. It definitely hits my range. Let's go for a 4 BB bet. See what he does here. He's folded 1 time out of 1 so far. If he calls, he's got an ace or a gut shot, or even open ender with a 10 jack. Nope. That was a no-go. Ace 9, I'm going to pop that. Prefer ace 9 suited. Prefer ace 10 or ace jack suited, of course. But we shall see what happens. That last flop up, I would hit 2 pair on it. Ooh, a nice little 3-bet. 0 so far, of course. Let's just dump it. So anyway, raise first in, fold to 3-bet, and a 4-bet. These stats are great because these are guys that you can really take it. I'm sorry, if you look at these stats and if they have correct stats, you can really take advantage of these guys. So his raise first in is 22%. He folds 73% of the time to a 3-bet. So if the math is right and you can pop up a 3-bet maybe like 2.5 times, you're just printing money against this kind of guy. Over 4K hands, this is a really good guy to go for. You would like to see fold a 3-bet at 80% or more, but 70 is a pretty good amount to go after there with some 3-bet bluffs, because he 4-bets 5% of the time, folds 73%, so altogether that's 78%. He only calls 22% of the time. So 22% of a 22% opening range is roughly like 5% of hands. So he calls, I mean, if you want to think about 5% of hands, he calls probably like jacks through 9s, jacks through 8s or 7s, and then ace 9, ace 10, ace jack suited, probably ace queen suited, and maybe ace king off, maybe ace queen off he'll call, but everything else, queens are better, ace kings, of course he'll be raising there. So that's where you get that 4% or 5% 4-betting. Let's try you out with a hand that can flop decently well, pretty easy to play post flop, and let's see what you do versus a donk here, or a float, because I'm in position, and he didn't check, so oh well. Yeah, so that's one way you can take advantage. That's why I have all of these here pre-flop numbers open, fold to 3-bet, and 4-bet. I'm not going to do anything there. And then down below, this is his calling a pre-flop 2-bet number and a 3-bet. So he folds most of the time. I mean, the guy only calls 15% of the time, 3-bets 3% of the time, and then the other 82% of the time he folds to raises. So which is indicative here with these stats. He's a pretty tag player without a doubt. And Suga is the next stat down here. I always keep their name just in case. Sometimes you load up a table as the very first hand and you see Suga's stats are here. TS tile list is here, owls is there, so no queen. Ooh, wow, what a shame. Anyway, so I was talking and I didn't see that well, I would imagine the queens got it in, the short stack 10s got it in pre. No, they didn't get it in pre. Come on, there we go, get rid of those. So a raise and a call, of course. Three times raise, okay, with queens, and then flopped it, and a bet call. Oh, it was all in on the turn. Okay. How lovely. Well, I mean, you did the right thing. You can't give up those queens to something like that after you put in money on the turn, flop and turn. Although, let's take a look at that again. Could you have gotten away? Let's take a look at this hand here. Could you have gotten away with queens on this board? Oh, well, no. 4, 5, 6. What do you expect him? Bet, call with a deuce 3? No. With a 7, 8? Possibly. 10x of clubs would be playing it this way. 10x of hearts, I mean to say. You know, ace 10. Ace 10 of hearts would bet, call, bet, go all in here without a doubt. Yep, just bluffing with some equity. So take it, Bill Gainier. Bill G's. Yeah, so I mean it's really difficult to get away from it here. There's so many different bluff cards that he could hit on that turn. He could also have 2 hearts with like just a 7, ace 7 of hearts. Although from a guy like this with these stats, yes, ace 7 would open call without a doubt. Yeah, so he's up against a lot of draws. I mean, most likely he's got the best hand. The guy was short stacked. This is a reasonable bet to put in. That's a reasonable bet. And then folding for a pot size bet after on the turn to that card, you just can't do. So it makes sense that he stayed in. Oh, I would have had 4 of a kind. Anyway, so the HUD stats, because I'm working on my opening game, the HUD stats I'm focusing on are call the 2-bet, which is down here. I forgot. These are the post-flop stats on the right. So C-bet the flop, C-bet the turn, fold to flop C-bet, and then fold to turn C-bet. So you could tell overall, this guy is more flop honest than he is turn honest right there. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. More turn honest. Down here, actually, no, those are so close. You can't really say he's more or less honest on one street. But if he c-bets the flop, which he doesn't c-bet often, most likely he's got a decent enough hand to throw it out another c-bet here. So that's why those are so close together. And he does not fold that often to the flop, so he doesn't fold that often on the turn either, because he stays in with a decent hand. He doesn't just call willy-nilly anything. Yep. Okay, let me open here. Come on, Bill Gainer. Just fold. 25 cents. I got 24 hands. How often do you raise first in EP 33? It's only 1 out of 3. Let's just try it. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh well. That's right. I've used up my time clock just by talking so much. So, those are the post-flop stats over there. So we're using those, of course. So when you're thinking about opening, you want to look at their call, 2-bet, and 3-bet stats, which are right down here, and 3-bet re-steal, which is part of my pop-up, and I'll show you that later on. Fold to 4-bet and fold to c-bet. Fold to steal by position, betting in position and out of position. Fold big blind to SB steal, and fold to bet in position and out of position. These are 3 post-flop stats, and the rest of these are all pre-flop stats. So these are things that I'm focusing on right here. And then always down here, every time I play, I have a logic statement or like a tilt control kind of statement in mind. And hold on a sec, Queen Jack, good, worth opening. Lost a buck, Ace Jack versus Ace 9. Because lately I've been catching myself when I'm starting to tilt, I start to do these spite calls where I say to myself, you can't have it, I'm just going to call anyway. You fold 67% of the time. I think it's time to toss out a decent sized little c-bet here on a 995. It's really hard for him to hit that, and he didn't, so he folded, which is good. I'm not going to open the 3-7, even though I could have, just because it's suited, just a test, and throw out a hand that could flop crazy strong, and they'll never suspect it. But anyway, so lately I've been catching myself occasionally when I'm tilting, maybe twice a week now. It's not like crazy, insane mega tilt where I blow off stacks and stacks of cash, but it's just tilt where I know I start playing bad and I'm not thinking, oh, bummer, Sugaboo left. He's a decent one to have because he's a tag player. I know that if he's raising me, he's got a pretty darn decent hand. He's not like, just an overly aggressive guy. 6s, just set mine here. And I flop backdoor crap draws. 7 and a 9 hit. Well, that gives a jack a higher straight. No good. I'm not going to continue with this one here. This guy does c-bet quite a bit, though. Let's see what a Bill Gainer has. What he can maybe take from this guy. Anyway, yeah, so I've been making spike calls lately when somebody bets the river and I just think, you can't have it. How can you have that? I have top pair. How can you have better than that? And I'll just make a stupid call just because I want to be right, So if I catch myself doing this, I need to take a breath. No name calling. Sometimes I find myself saying, you jerk, you freaking jerk, something like that. So no name calling, take a deep breath and just get back to playing. Like, take a deep breath, center myself, take a few seconds to think, and then think through the hand before I make any further decisions. So that's what I have to do. And having something like this just kind of helps me keep myself centered and focused on the game. Don't let anger cloud my judgment. So now that we've talked about all this, we've actually played 22 hands. I don't know where that 3 was before, but 22 hands total. And haven't talked about much strategy anyway. So this guy's a 25-7. He's opening pretty darn tight. Although he raises first in 18%, but that's across all the different streets right here. So raise first in the EP, it's 25%, 1 out of 4. Let's see here. You come in 30% to start. Let's test you out, Whoops. Just see what he does. He hasn't had to fold any 3-bets yet, so we'll see. No, it's not a great hand to do it. I'm 3-bet folding here if he 4-bets for sure, but it's just a good spot to put someone to the test. I just don't know what he's capable of just yet, and I'll never know unless I make plays like this. I can't just wait for good hands. Make a 3/4 pot bet here. No, I'm sorry, 2/3 pot bet. Good, and it worked. So he folds the C-bet 60% of the time, which is 3 out of 5. No, my jacking offsuit. Nice. I like that. Yeah, this is a pretty laggy player right here. How often so far has he opened on the button? 50% of the time, that's it. Yeah. I need to do a quick something here. And I'll show you as I do it. Now, this is my cash profile in the PokerTracker 4 HUD. Now, for whatever reason right now, I don't know what I did wrong, but my Assassinato pop-up, which I kind of tailored after Alex Assassinato Fitzgerald's pop-up that he uses now. Queen 3 and playing suited. C-bet 67%. Let's see here. C-bet out of position 100%. Oh. I'm going to call and see what happens. Flopped a pair. That doesn't mean he necessarily has to have an ace just because it hits. I'm going to check. He could have been slow playing. Pot size bet. Man. It's not much equity. 50 cents. He could have been slow playing the ace, hoping I would bet at it. Oh well, anyway. So my Assassinato pop-up is not popping up. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I recently changed my cash HUD and I did not include this in it. So let's just hit OK, and I'll show you the Assassinato HUD as soon as that pops up. I just added that particular pop-up HUD to my main. So now that I push this, all the normal pre-flop, flop, turn, and river, but my Assassinato HUD is up here now. And darn it, I lost the guy, Sugaboo, that I had a ton of hands on. Let's take a look at this guy. So for the Assassinato pop-up, you can see his player name right here, hands played, VPIP, and PFR, of course. And then all these limp, RFI, checking stats, so like check fold, check river stats, various aggressions on the different streets, C-bet stats, donk, float, and showdown hands. Oh, let's pop that open, of course. Fist fights, huh? Wow. So we've lost half the players. We have new ones. Now, I do have some hands on fist fight, so that's good news. Some sets. He folds the C-bets 91% of the time. That is great. He's a good one to bet when he's in the small blind and big blind. Probably most of the time it's best for the big blind, and then you could do a lot of stealing when you whiff. Now, because we hit this so hard, there's a flush draw. There's a weak straight draw. Ace 3, Ace 4 has straights, straight draws. We hit it. I'm just going to go for value. I don't know anything about this guy. Let's see what he does. And fistfights is most likely going to fold. Let's see, he has a queen. Maybe even just a 5. A flush draw would probably call just for the test, but, I'm going to do this. And a jack 5. He just decided to bomb it off, which is fine by me. I don't mind taking your stack. Thank you. But flop, second pair, no draw, check, shove. It was roughly like 38 BBs or something like that, I think. Whoops. I'm not going to defend that. I'm sure 20 cents means I only have to win 4.5. I only have to win 18% of the time. Wait, 20 divided by 0.9? Whip the calculator over. 22% of the time. Okay. Yeah, so fistfights, what was I saying? Oh, cash. High fold to c-bet, but flop second pair, no draw, check, shove, 38 BBs. Okay. Well, that's great that I won, but these two just now, and these two, saw me open with a queen deuce suited. I can expect to fold. He did not fold to my c-bet last time. Let's see what he does this time. Out of the blinds, he might treat that with a little bit more respect. Last time he didn't. This time he might, and he did. Great. Just a test, Sometimes you got to do that. And one of the good things, too, about playing these low-stakes cash games like this is that this is a good opportunity to make those tests. The more 3-betting experience that I get, and the better off I'll be in the higher stakes MTTs, sit and goes that I play in. And, if I ever really get into cash, I think 3-betting will help there, too, of course, especially as I start to move up the levels, so that's what's going on. Darn it, I didn't see how the hand started there. But you only see about 61% of the time, so you got to assume you hit... let's take a look here. Oh, you just did a check raise again. You could have anything. Well, you did check raise shove against me. This is a smaller check raise. Just a 3x check raise. So maybe you learned your lesson. Maybe you did the same thing with a crappy bottom pair with a tiny bit of equity, like with that 5. Maybe you just did it again, but decided to use smaller sizing so you didn't blow your whole stack again. And this is a 40 BB buy-in guy, which I'm not a big fan of that. I don't do that myself. I always buy in full stacks. And if I ever get to a table and all the stacks are short stacks like that, 40 BB players, I just get out of it. Because these are the kind of guys, they often want to just gamble it up, and they'll be 3-betting a lot, shoving, check shoving flops and stuff. 3-betting post flop also with just like top pair, weak kicker kind of hands, and it just increases my variance. I feel that it increases my variance. I haven't really done the math on it, haven't looked at it over time to really determine, but it just feels like it. And I think that's what those short stacks want to do. They want to get their money in quickly with a good hand, like top pair, bottom 2 pair, stuff like that, and just hope their opponent calls off. Because, a guy like me, I have a 150 BB stack. If I'm getting shoved on by a 30 BB stack or 40 BB stack, it's not a super big hit, and I end up still having over my starting stack if I do end up losing. So a lot of players see that, this is house money I'm playing with. I can call this raise, no big deal. And I think that's what a lot of short stackers count on. And you are 3-betting 13%. And last time, are you really 3-bet bluffing me again? You 3-bet bluff for your whole stack before. Are you doing it again? No, you're not. I wish you would have shown something. I would accept even 8s or 7s. I still think I made a good play. I mean, are you capable? Well, you're at 57.27. I doubt you're running a test like me. I mean, I'm purposely running this high because I'm opening anything that's decently playable, even under the gun, you know? So, I think you're just overly aggressive. So, we'll see what keeps happening. Fist fights. So, well, that is a weak flop. Deuce 3-6. Two-thirds on the turn 7. Well, 45 already had a straight. 7 didn't really help. Now 7 gives a, I don't know, 7-8 a top pair at least. Ace 7 a top pair. SB open. Over 47 hands. Let's take a look at that Assassinato pop-up here. SB open 100% of the time. 2 out of 2. Yeah. So the guy likes to open in the small blind. And maybe it's against this player in particular. Maybe he knows this guy folds a lot. Why is that so hard to read? I think I need to change that coloring. Maybe change the background to a gray background. That might be better. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll bring it over again. Oh, look at that. Ace-Queen shove pre. Shoving the decent hands. Now, I can understand the Jack's call. I probably would have called with that as well. But an Ace-Queen shove. So let's take a look at this fold to steal stat. Let's just give it as a quick test. Dagnabbit. I don't want to call that. Let's give it as a quick test and lighter. Well, maybe a darker? Oh, yeah, it's open. Oh, opening into this guy, 3/6. Well, yeah, let's see what he does. Test it out. So let's put it the darker gray and hit. Oh, I also want to do this. Assign pop-ups. Assassinato pop-up goes to the top. Group. Hit OK. Okay, now let's take a look at the color change. So that's steel background. 86, and he checked. He's going to check raise. I'm not down for that. I want to, now that I hit a spade, I really do want to realize my equity. I want to realize it. I don't want him to shove. I just got the sense. Well, now that he's a double stack, double starting stack, 2.2, 2.3 starting stack. 80 cents into that. You hit your 9, or you had a jack the whole time, or you had deuces and you were slow playing it, which I doubt. You probably hit your 9 on the river. I'm out. So short stacks like that often overbet for value. He folds 6-7% of the time. I don't want him to fold so much. Let's make it like that. Give this guy incentive to shove over, because he's a shover. Maybe he'll think I'm bluffing with that smaller bet. Didn't work. Oh. What was that? UTG, it was a 2.5 BB open. That's right, yeah. All right. Whoops. Didn't mean to open that. Well, we're coming up on just about 29 minutes right now. So I'll probably sit out the BB. So this will end up being, what I'm going to do with this one is later on today, or possibly, yeah, probably tomorrow, I'm going to do a hand history review on all of these hands here, where I'm going to whip out a calculator, whip out Flopzilla, whip out whatever other programs I might need to kind of analyze some hands. Ooh, final hand we get to open. And let's see what we do versus a 3-bet. And nothing, we took it down. Great. Well, in this quick 30-minute session, we took our stack up from 100 BBs to 148.4 BBs. So it was a pretty good deal. We opened a ton of hands. We ended at a 39.27 over 50 hands, which is way more laggy than I normally am. we could take a look back through those hands and see. I mean, realistically, a lot of those hands I'm not even opening. Although that's interesting. I opened so many hands, and I was pretty profitable. Hit some good flops, found some good spots to c-bet. 3-bet 13%. That's really high too. I normally shoot for 7 to 8 as a whole, so that's great hitting that. Oh, where'd I go? Oh, of course the hand. The stats reverted, and my stats leave the table. Well, anyway, that was a great session. Thank you very much for joining me. The next video, I'm going to put this up, and then the next video directly after this is going to be the hand history review on this table. So we'll look at all the exact same hands from start to finish, and we'll see we'll just see how I played them, what I could have done better, you know, any mistakes I made, any mistakes my opponent made. We'll take a look at some of their hands. The only bummer is all these players were brand new, fresh players. We didn't have many stats that we could really take advantage of. But, you know, maybe the next time I do this, I'll find a table where I know 2 or 3 of the players and have like 300 or 400 hands on a couple of them. That'll allow us a better chance to look at some stats and kind of get our focus on these right here. Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching the videos or the video, and I will catch you on the flip side.